If you're anything like me, you've probably toyed with the idea of learning to skateboard in your younger years. It's just a cool hobby and it looks like so much fun, but as a kid with so many hobbies, I never really stuck to the idea, and instead my skateboard lived under my bed until the fateful day I would get rid of it. Despite this interest never sticking, I loved playing skateboarding games. So today, let's look at the game that started it all, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Of course, as you may expect after seeing any of the other recent content on my channel, I'll be playing this game on the N64, and if you'd like to see more videos breaking down old and sometimes obscure games on the 64, I recommend checking out some of my other recent videos and subscribing for future content. To start this mini dive off, I just want to say that this game doesn't feel like an archaic take on a skateboarding game. This game actually plays phenomenally. Turning on the ground and in the air feels tight, the trick system in this game is simple to understand but can still be taken to ridiculous heights, and it has a strong amount of content to unlock by playing through the single player mode that will only add to your experience while playing with your friends. Firstly, we should talk about the single player mode. In every map that you play, there will be 5 VHS tapes that you can collect that signify that you've achieved specific goals within that map. Every map gives you 2 minutes to skate around and collect these tapes, and you can play on whichever course you'd like any number of times to collect them all. What's really satisfying is going about collecting all 5 tapes in one stage in a single 2-minute run once you've gotten used to the controls and what you're able to get away with trick-wise. What goals are we trying to achieve for these tapes though? Well, we've got a low ball score to shoot for and usually a much harder pro score to try to get as well. We've got 5 letters that spell skate to collect in every map as well as a hidden tape somewhere on every course. And finally, we generally have a goal to run into 5 of a certain object within the levels that we're playing. Whether it's boxes, no skating signs around the city, water release valves, you name it, we gotta hit them. These goals are all pretty simple on a surface level, but just getting into the game you're probably going to find yourself having a bit of trouble completing some of them. Whether it's finding all of the objects that you need to smash, or locating hidden tapes, or even just getting the highest score you possibly can within 2 minutes, some of these can be ridiculously hard, especially as the levels go on. But rest assured, you've got plenty of time to learn. See, we actually have 10 different skateboarders that we can choose to play as, and if you like the game as much as I did on my first playthrough, you're probably going to end up beating the single player modes on all of them in order to unlock all of the boards that they can choose to ride on. This way, no matter who you play as, you'll be able to fully customize the way you want to play when you and your friends go to play together. Through the process of completing every character's board collection, I ended up getting good enough at this game to nail out an entire character's campaign in roughly 30 minutes. It's really satisfying to conquer this game and gather all VHS tapes and every gold medal with such a relaxed amount of effort.
Hold on, where are these gold medals coming from? Thought you were just collecting VHS tapes.
Okay, this part is pretty cool to me. Breaking up your trip through the US collecting all of these tapes, you've got a couple competitions that you have to participate in. In these competitions, you'll have 3 1-minute rounds to impress the judges as best you can. The 2 best scoring rounds you perform will be averaged at the end to give you a final score, and your goal is to beat all the scores of the CPU players. The first competition is practically a freebie, as I don't think even while learning the game I failed to grab a gold here. The second competition is a bit harder to compete in, as the CPU players will start to get higher scores than before, meaning you're really gonna have to try not to bail any tricks while aiming for your high scores, as that'll deduct points from your judge score. And the final competition of the game? Honestly, this one is pretty wild. If I'm skating at my best, I'll score like 1 point ahead of second place most times. To get 2 rounds high enough to beat second place on this map honestly took me a decent while to do my first time through, but I loved it. It kind of forces you to skate to the best of your ability and become so familiar with the park that you're able to improvise massive tricks and chain grinds that'll leave your competition wishing that they had what you do. This whole single player mode is just a joy to play through and such a good tool to get you used to playing the game in a points first type of way. Once you've collected all your VHS tapes for the first time, you'll unlock this police officer character with some pretty hysterical boards, as well as the rest of the stages that weren't unlocked in multiplayer from the get-go. And when you finally get 3 gold medals in the competition stages, you'll be able to see that character's extra tricks within the trick guides menu. These tricks are called signature moves, and every character has a few of them that you'll be able to pull off, but not just at any time. You may have noticed that there's this neat little special gauge that's been on my screen this whole time, and that's because you need to do enough stunts to fill it before you can do any of the crazy stuff. For example, my character of choice is Alyssa Steamer, and her signature moves are the backflip, the judo Madonna, and the primo grind. All of these have a short set of inputs that you'll need to perform in order to get them to come out with a full special gauge, but learning the tricks your character can do feels so good. You've worked so hard to get these gold medals in single player, and now you're rewarded with tricks that will have you scoring massive points in most cases when pulled off. Can we just talk about this trick system in general though? Because it's extremely cool. Your C left button will be for all of your board flipping tricks. By holding any of the 8 analog stick directions and pressing C left, you'll be performing cool tricks in no time. On the other hand though, C right governs all of your board holding tricks. The same rules apply here, where all 8 directions will give you different stunts when you hold it and press C right. Your C up button will act as your grinding button, where as long as you're holding it down when you come across a grindable surface, you will begin your grind. And just like the 2 trick buttons, there are 8 directions you can hold while starting a grind that will have your character grinding like a pro and scoring mad points. One of the best way to score big points in this game that I've found is to find a long grind rail and consistently perform tricks in between grinds by repeatedly jumping on the rail you're grinding on. If you can chain a huge number of stunts on a grind rail like this, you'll find yourself nailing some ridiculous scores sometimes, and it feels really good to pull off. But if that's the only thing that you're doing, you'll find diminishing returns. And one of the features I love most about this game, you'll need to keep your tricks fresh during the whole run to score the best points. You can't just do one thing over and over again to score massive points because the judges want to see everything that you can do. If you only use the Benihana on every ramp because it looks awesome, you're gonna see its point rewards dropping off really quickly, and I just think this is a great feature. It keeps you trying new things and working to pull off every trick you know how to do in a single 2-minute window to get the highest score that you can get. Everything about this system is so satisfying and cool to me, and that's really good considering a trick system is basically what holds any skate game together. Enough about the single player mode though, let's talk multiplayer, because we have some sick modes here to mess around in. Firstly, if you want to compete like in the single player mode for the best high score within a 2-minute time frame, you've got a trick attack to act as exactly that. You and your friends can battle 1v1 for the best high score in whichever map that you'd like, and it's just a great time. Secondly, we have a really dope mode called Graffiti, in which you'll be trying to get the highest score on every ramp that you can in order to keep most of the map your color. If you have a ramp painted a certain way already, your friend can absolutely come through with a way cooler trick and steal it back to their color. This mode is so cool, and honestly way more creative than I thought the first ever Tony Hawk was going to get. But beyond this, we have Horse, in which you'll be competing against each other to land a single trick with more points than the other person. This is a pretty classic game skaters would play with each other in my area, and it's awesome to see it make its way into the video game side of things too. Skateboarding is just a sport that was asking to be made into a video game, and it's no wonder the Tony Hawk series ended up becoming as big as it did. I love this game, and I'm very happy that I went about getting my hands on it. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, where I take you through some of my favorite games of all time on my favorite video game console of all time, press that subscribe button, or just click on one of the videos coming up on your screen here soon. I'm making videos like this all the time, and the reception my channel has been getting over these N64 releases has been amazing for me to see. Keep it real out there, everybody. My name is Myloe, and I'm out.